Hi, Sharpenarians. So, guys, with this, we are done with the done with the use reducer hook. But I would like to show how it can use, result in optimum code with the help of use effect as well. Okay, so a combination of use reducer and use effect in the case of complex state management that is happening inside your component. You can write an optimum solution, a code which has optimized performance, the component which is optimized performance by clubbing the two hooks. Okay, so let us go back to our application, and here we can see that in our login component we are having two reducers, email reducer and password reducer. Now they are kind of similar, okay, and you might feel that why not have one single reducer, because the structure is almost same for both the reducers. Okay, just the validation logic is changing. Here I'm looking for the character at the rate, and here I'm looking for the length of the string. So that is the only difference. Otherwise, it is the two reducer functions are almost same. So why not have one single reducer? Okay, so yeah, you are right, and this is refactorable. This can be done, but that is some of the extra work that we need to do for that, and that is why I'm not doing it here. I just wanted to give you a taste of use reducer, and that I'm done with. I'm happy with what I have delivered. Now comes the next point, and that is this form is valid state. Okay, let us. My agenda for this video is basically I want to tell you that how use reducer can be used in conjunction with use effect to give an optimum solution in the form of optimized component. Okay, so if I come to this form is valid state, okay. See, one more thing. The best solution would be that I have one single reducer for the entire form, because at the end what the input I'm checking for the input validity, okay, via the use reducers, but and I'm having a separate state for the form validity check. But now I can have a single reducer because ultimately both the input elements are part of the form only. Okay, so if both the inputs are valid, form is valid. Okay, so but right now there is some problem with our code, and the code is the problem is here. Okay, if I just go to this email change handler and password change handler, here I am setting the form validity. Okay, so basically this is a state updating function, and still if you will see carefully, this is depending on this state, password state dot valid, and this is email state dot valid. So it is depending on some other state, and I already told you that when a particular state, when one state is depending on some other state, it is a complex state to state relation, and it is possible that when one particular state updating function is running, the other one is not up to date, and this may cause bugs and problems in your application. So this is not an optimized solution. So what I will do, I will just comment this out or remove this because this is not an optimized solution. And I will revert back to the use effect solution that we implemented some videos back, because that is really an optimized solution. Now, instead of doing this thing, I can simply make use of the state, email state, and I can say email state dot is valid. And here I can say that uh, password state dot valid is valid. Okay, and with this I am done, and here as dependencies I can pass my email state and my password state. Okay, so you might feel that still I am in this state updating function I am passing some other state, but this time this is not a problem. Okay, it kind of feels like that I'm doing the same thing. Okay, there is not much difference, but guys, you need to understand that I have written this code inside the use effect hook. Okay, so this will ensure that whatever state for email validity and password validity I'm receiving here, okay, they are the latest state. Okay, why? Because we know that use effect runs after the entire component is rendered. Okay, after this entire component is rendered, this entire component gets rendered. After that, use effect runs, and after that use effect runs, that means this state updating function runs, and it runs only when this dependencies change. Okay. So if any one of these dependencies has changed and the component is rendered, after that this state updating function will run. So since it is running after a change in this dependency, that means I will definitely receive the latest state, and that is what I'm using here, the latest state. So I'm so sorry. So here, using a similar kind of a structure inside use effect is not a problem, because this dependency array will ensure that this state updating function runs only when this state changes. And since use effect is the this function runs after the this update, so it will ensure I can guarantee that I'm sure that these things that I'm receiving here are the latest states. Okay, so that is the that is the power of using use effect with use reducer. And this is how I can achieve the get the latest state. So this is a more appropriate and a more optimized solution using use effect instead of the set form is valid state. This is one important thing. And now, if you will see carefully, I will just save this file. Okay, it is an optimized solution, but it can be optimized more. Okay, why? To show you that, I will just uncomment this console log statements. Okay, and I will go to the console. So it is with the help of use effect we have optimized this component, but still it can be optimized further. Why? If you will see carefully here, I am checking for the validity of the email and password. But what are my dependencies? My dependencies are the email state and password state. So, and we know that email state and password state not just has the is valid a key, it also has another key which is value. So the problem with the current dependency array is that it is having some values where if any, I mean, this object is having two values, okay, is valid and the value. If is valid change, then we are triggering the this form is valid state. That is fine. But even in the case of change of the value of the input field, okay, whether it is password or email, this form validity will change. So this doesn't make sense. I will just show this to you. Okay. So let us say I entered some email. Okay. So I entered this email. I'm checking. I'm inside this checking this form validity. Okay. Now, now just see this. I have a valid password. I have provided a valid password. Okay. Now, if I will press another keystroke, so basically, if I will enter one more character, the password validity will not check. It will not. Right now, it is true. Password is valid. Even if I add one more character, password will still be valid. It will not change to false. Okay. So that means this thing password state dot is valid. This value is not changing. It is still true only. But despite that, this will run because it will run because this dependency is incorrect. I mean, it is correct, but it can be correctified further. I can make it more correct. Why? Because right now it has another field value. So if I enter one more character, is valid state will not change. It will be true, but the value will change. And since I have passed the entire object as an element in my dependency array, the change in value will also trigger the use effect function, which I don't want. Okay, I want this use effect function to run only when the validity change, and when I already have a valid password, adding one more character will not change its validity. So I don't want the use effect function to run. Right now it is running because of the change in the value, because the object that I am passing in the dependency array, basically the email state, it has a value, and that value is changing when I enter any new character. So see, I will just clear the console and show it to you. Right now, password is already valid. Okay. Now I will enter one more character. See the console. Ideally, it should not run. That is the behavior I'm expecting, because validity is not changing. If you will see my component in the use effect, I'm checking for the validity only. And since validity is not changing, I should not see anything in the console log. Okay. But despite of that, if I press any key, I will see a console log because the value is changing and value is a part of this email state. So this dependency has changed. So it is getting rendered. I don't want that. So I'll just demonstrate this. Okay. I will enter a character. So I entered a character and see this cleanup checking form validity run. It was already valid. I am entering, if I'm entering a character, the validity is not changing. So I don't want this use effect to run, but it is running. See, it ran again. Again a character, again it ran. Why? Because value is also changing and value is part of this dependency object. So what I need to do is from this object email state, I should extract the is valid thing. Okay. The is valid key, and I should pass only that is valid key uh, to this dependency array. Okay. So for that, I will use object destructuring. Okay. Before I use that, okay, I will like to show what is object destructuring. So for that, I will go to this online compiler and let us say that you are having an object which has three keys with values 1, uh, 2, and 3. So key A value is 1, key B value is 2, key C value is 3. Now, if I want to extract the A key, basically property A, I can make use of object destructuring just the way I can make use of array destructuring. We have seen array destructuring. I'm giving an example of object destructuring. So if I want to extract A from this object, I can do this. I can say const A is equals to, now one thing you need to put this inside curly brackets and then object. That's all. This is how you can extract properties from any object. If I just console log A right now, I will get its value, which is 1. Now imagine if I want to extract C, I can say object destructuring. I want to extract C from what? From this object. And now I can just console log it. I should see 3 here. See, I'm seeing 3 here. So this is how you can extract properties from the object. Now, one more thing. If you want to give it a new name, suppose I'm extracting C, okay, but I don't want the name of this constant to be C. I want it to give some other name. Let us say I want to give it a name called Z. So this is the syntax you have to use. You have to put a colon and you have to put the new name that you want to, the new identifier is what you will write after the colon. Now, although it seems like a key value pair, as in the case of objects, like you're seeing here, but there is a difference. And the difference is that when you're creating an object of key value pairs, it is after the assignment operator, after the equal to sign. Okay. This time, this thing is on the left hand side of this assignment operator, on the left hand side of the equal to sign. So whenever it is on the left hand side, it means that I'm extracting some value from my object, some key from my object. So that is this C that I'm extracting. And here this thing, some identifier after the colon means that I want to give it a new name. What is the new name? It is Z. And now if I just console log C, I will get that C is not defined because C is part of this object. Although I have extracted it, but there is no such constant of with this identifier because I have changed this name to Z. So now I need to console log. First of all, let me show you what I get if I do console log. See, I'm getting C is not defined. Okay, because I have given this variable a name Z, not C. So now I need to do console.log Z, and with that I will get the correct. This was all about object restructuring. Now, why I told this to you? I told this to you because from my email state, which is having two keys, one is value, another is valid. I just want is valid to be a part of this dependency array so that the use effect function, the side effect function that is there in the use effect, it runs only when the validity changes, not when the value changes. Okay. So for that purpose, I can make use of object restructuring here, and I can basically extract uh, is valid is valid from email state. Okay. And again, I can extract is now, if I don't give any other name, since both the properties are same, I will get an error here. Okay, so I should give it some other name. Okay, so let us say email is valid and password is valid. Password is valid. So with this, I have extracted the valid status of email and password and stored it inside this variable. Email state is valid and password is valid. Now I can simply make them make them my dependencies, so that the dependency effect, so that the side effect function inside use effect will run only when the validity of the email or password changes, not when their value changes. Same thing I can do here. I can, although this is fine, but when we have already extracted this is valid state, why not use them directly here? So with this, we are done. So this completes our solution. Okay, and yeah, this was the advantage of using use effect. And let me just demonstrate this to you once again. Uh, okay, I'm entering some email. Let us say this .com, and now I will just clear this, and now I will enter the password. It is invalid right now. Now it is valid. Okay, now it is already valid. So now, if my use effect, the code that I have written is correct, when I will enter a new character, when I will enter a new character, the use effect function should not run, because the password is already valid. It is already valid. Only value is changing, and I'm not triggering that side effect function on change of the value. I'm only triggering it on the change of validity. So if I add one more character, just see the console. I'm adding many characters, but I'm not seeing anything on the console because that effect function is not running. Okay. Now it depends only on the validity of the input fields, not their values. So this example very clearly tells you that how use effect combined with use reducer can help you produce optimized components. So with this, we end the topic of use reducers, and we will see our next hook in the next assignment. Sorry, in the next task. Till then, have a nice day, guys. Bye bye.